Hey everyone, today we're taking a look at page 10 in your lesson book. Hopefully after the last few lessons, you've started to become really comfortable with being in third position and with shifting up to third position. We've spent a lot of time on both the D and the A string, not just playing up in third position, but going back and forth between first and third. And today we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to actually go over to the G string and play in third position there. We're not actually, again, doing any shifting. We're just staying up in third position. And like the first couple of lessons with the D and A string, you'll remember that the hardest part was actually interpreting and reading the notes, because now notes that you've always known to be a certain finger are played with a different finger in third position. The actual physical skill of putting your fingers down in third position is the same on every single string. The thing that changes is reading the notes, and that's what we're going to be working on today. If you take a look at the yellow box on the top of page 10, depending on your instrument, you'll have some different things written. So I'm going to go through that right now. Violins and violas, you'll see you have two different finger patterns written. And you'll get to try each of them on this page. The first is what we call the 2-3 finger pattern. Let me move it here so you can see it better, where your second and third finger are touching. And then the 3-4 finger pattern, where your fourth and third and fourth finger are touching. If you look at the two different finger patterns, you'll notice the only difference is the E flat. So the 2-3 finger pattern has an E flat. The 3-4 finger pattern has an E natural. So when we go to play, we'll check our key signature and say, do I want E flats or E naturals? And that's how we'll know which finger pattern to use. Cellos, you have three different options written, just like in past pages. So you have regular third position. That will cover the notes C, C sharp, D, and E flat. Okay, then you have third extended position. That's where you keep your first finger on the C, but you're going to stretch your second finger a whole step to D. And by doing that, it enables you to get the note E natural in there. So if we're playing a piece or an exercise that has E naturals and not E flats, we're going to want to use the third extended position. And lastly, if we need to reach up to get that F natural, we'll have to pop into fourth position. So your first finger goes on the D, and you're playing up there. Hopefully fourth position is becoming a little bit more comfortable for you guys. I know that was one of the harder things at the beginning when we started working on third position. So let's go ahead with 57. And by the way, you're going to notice a lot of these melodies you've already played. And that's one thing I love about this book. They do this on purpose. You play the same melodies over and over again, and that way you know what they're supposed to sound like. And if you make a mistake, you can say, oh, I know it's not supposed to sound that way. Let me go back and fix it. Maybe I have some fingers that aren't close enough, or there's too much of a space, and you can work to make it sound correct. Okay, so we're looking at 57, and you'll see there are 3 flats in the key signature for 57. Now that goes a little bit beyond what we've learned in class, and I don't expect you to know what all of those flats are. What I'm going to tell you, and all you need to know for this one, is that all of your E's are flat. Okay, so violins and violas, you're going to use the 2-3 finger pattern, and cellos, I think you get to stay, you get to stay in third position the whole time. You get to hang out in third position the whole time. All right, so everyone go ahead and go up to third position on the G string. That note is C. It should sound like this. And we're going to play 57 together. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Good. And one thing I should mention, it's in places like measure 4, cellos and violas, you get to pop down to your open C string to check those two C's against each other. They're an octave apart. Please do that. It's written in your book. I just can't do that because I don't have a C string on my violin. So I just wanted to let you know yours might sound different, a little bit different than mine in that part. Okay, 58. Now, for the rest of the page, you probably remember this has been the pattern throughout this book. For the rest of the page, we're dealing with E naturals. So violins and violas, we're now going to use that 3-4 finger pattern. It looks like this. It's a little bit, it just feels a little bit different than what you're used to. But again, the more you do it, the easier it'll get. And eventually it'll just be like second nature. You'll know exactly how to do that. So here we go with 58. Again, find that C. And cellos, you're getting ready to do third extended position. So you're going to stretch your second finger to reach the note D. So you're going to have to stretch it a little bit further than you're used to. Okay, and it should sound like this. Here we go. Okay, moving on to number 59. It's the same concept for violins and violas. This time you are going to have to put your pinky down, your fourth finger, and make sure it's right next to your third finger. Cellos, you do have to go to fourth position, so make sure you follow what it's asking. Hopefully you have a sticker or a dot on your instrument for fourth position so you know where to go up to. If not, I can give you one when we meet for our lesson. So here we go with 59. 1, 2, 3, 4. Good. One thing I should mention, if you're a violin or viola and you're feeling like you're having a hard time reaching on G, especially with your pinky, one thing that people have a tendency to do is to have their elbow out over here. And you can see when I do that, it actually pulls my fingers away from the string. It makes it so that I can't reach them as easily. So one trick is doing the opposite of that. You can actually pull your elbow under a little bit. And you see how when I do that, my hand comes around and I can start to reach a little bit better. So you might find that to play in third on the G string, you actually have to pull your elbow under a little bit more. You don't want to do anything like really silly like this, but just move it in a little bit underneath the instrument, and that's going to give you a little bit more reach with your pinky, especially with your pinky. So you can see when I'm out here, I can't reach at all. I can't even get my pinky to touch the G string. But when I move it in, my hand comes around, and that's a good technique, a good positioning to have when you're playing in third position on G. Okay, number 60, cellos, you get to start in first position, and you just shift to fourth halfway through the third measure. So this one actually is not too bad for cellos. Everyone else, we're doing the same things that we were doing in the last exercise, except you can see in measure 3, we have to go over to the D string. And these are notes that we've done for weeks, so these should be not bad at all once we get to the D string. So here we go with number 60, up in third position for violins and violas. Cellos, you're in first position for the moment. 1, 2, 3, 4. Awesome. Okay, 61. Same kinds of things. We're using all those notes. This is actually, we're using all the notes in the C major scale. So we're going from C, which is first finger in third position, all the way up to a higher C, which if you're a violin or a viola is 4 fingers in third position on the D string. So we're spanning an octave right now. If you ever have any questions about what these notes are, if you get to a note and you say, I don't know how to play that in third position, go back. There's a page for every single string, right? There's a page for for playing in third on D, for playing in third on A, for playing in third on G. I don't think we've gotten to E or C yet, but those do exist in this book as well. So use your resources, flip back and check. Or you can always send me an email and I'll tell you too. So either way works. But don't guess. Make sure you know what you're doing is correct. So here we go, 61. Up in third if you're a violin or viola. Cellos, again, you get to start this in first position. So you actually are doing shifting this week. Here we go, 61. 1, 2, 3, ready, here we go. All right. And, oops, let me just flip here. The last one, 62, and you probably recognize this melody just by looking at it. You've seen it probably 3 times so far in this book. This is the one that I always say is a challenge. Don't be discouraged if you can't get it the first try or if it takes you a little while to get it, because this one is really, really tough. So what we'll do is I'll play through this. And again, like with the past week's lessons when we've had this is not my priority. I'd like you to learn this, but I would prefer that you have the other ones down first. This is more of like a challenge. If everything else is easy for you and you have it down, then really focus on getting this one. Okay, so I don't want anyone to feel discouraged if you can't get this first try. This one is tough. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is set my fingers down so I know I'm starting on the right note. That's a C, and it's going to sound like this. All right, keep working hard on this third position, and we will work on it. Oh, I almost fell. That's a nice blooper for you. Keep working hard on this third position, and we'll work on it together in your lesson.